Marcus Freeman has announced that they will play without Anthony Knapp, and Rocco Spindler, we'll see how he progresses. We got to talk about what that means for the Notre Dame offensive line, what it means for the Ohio State defensive line, and why a task that is already difficult for Notre Dame just got a lot more difficult. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If you're new to the #1 college football show, please subscribe to the channel. It costs nothing. It's free. Ring the bell. Help us get to 130,000 subscribers in this raucous and rolling community. And answer this question in the comments below. Do you think Notre Dame can beat Ohio State down not one, but two offensive linemen, including, a new left tackle at the very least? If you don't know what it means when I say I'm on a step mill, ask an OG subscriber. That's all I'm willing to say about it. So let's talk about Notre Dame. Let's talk about Ohio State. Let's talk about what Notre Dame's already up against. So one of the things that we saw in Notre Dame's really cool win against Penn State is that they had a really hard time protecting Riley Leonard in the first half, and they had a really hard time running the football until late in the second half. We know this because, Penn State's defensive front was dictating. It was setting pace. It was speeding up Riley Leonard. His footwork was trash. The releases were trash. There was nothing that was in sync about what he was doing, and it showed, right? Steve Angeli looked like a better quarterback for the last 1 minute of that first half than Riley Leonard did. Now, Riley Leonard comes back in the game and leads them to a comeback win, largely because he's able to find ways to get rid of the football quickly, one in particular, right, to Aeneas Williams. And then Aeneas Williams is able to get something like an explosive run. It's like 15 yards, 17 yards. And Riley Leonard goes back to being Riley Leonard, punches it in for the score, and they mount their comeback to defeat the Nittany Lions. But Abdul Carter with one arm is giving them the business. Dennis Sutton is having his way. Tony Rojas is out there cooking. Roby King is out there cooking. Dom DeLuca is out there cooking. We saw some guys out there just making it hard for Notre Dame. One of the things that I thought was worrying for Notre Dame is a hallmark of that program is its offensive line. Its offensive line and its tight ends. That guys on the line of scrimmage, and they were getting bullied off the ball, pushed back by Penn State, and then they lose Anthony Knapp, and Rocco Spindler comes up lame. So now you're down not one, two, but I think three offensive linemen over the course of the season against an Ohio State pass rush that has been ridiculously good in the college football playoff. They sacked Nico Iamaleava 4 times in the game against Tennessee. They sacked Dylan Gabriel 8 times, right, in the game against Oregon. And they sacked Quinn Ewers 4 times in the game against Texas. So en route to the win at the Shoe, the Rose Bowl win, and the Cotton Bowl win, the Ohio State front seven has been getting it done. And JT Tuimoloau and Jack Sawyer are among the top 10 in Ohio State school history in sacks. And it looks like they got a good chance to chase down everybody but maybe Mike Vrabel, who's got the, record for 36 in his career. But guys like, Chase Young, probably not, 30. Thank God. Chase Young was ridiculous for 3 years. But the Bosa's, or I should say, Nick Bosa is within reach, right? That said, you've got Cody Simons playing the best football of his life. He has made so much money as the middle linebacker in that scheme. Been really, really good. I've been so impressed by what Cody Simon's been able to do from a pass rushing standpoint, from a cover standpoint, and from a seek and destroy standpoint. 9 tackles in the win against Texas. And then you got Lathan Ransom coming downhill, laying the wood, right? He had that big 7-yard tackle for loss that set up Jack Sawyer's strip of Quinn Ewers, the scoop, and the score that put away the game for the Buckeyes. And those are the guys that are just coming to mind, right? Tyleik Williams figures into this. They'll get some design pressures from Jim Knowles. They'll get a lot of different looks. And if Riley Leonard's weakness is throwing the football because he doesn't always trust what he sees, they're not going to give him time to suss it out. And if Dylan Gabriel, who I think has awareness on par with, Peter Parker and Miles Morales, he just feels it and gets rid of it. If that dude is confused, and he was, what's Riley Leonard going to do? So now you're talking about the offense being down, key players to how they want to get things done. They want to be physical. That's what Mark Freeman said. We want to be physical. We want to bully people. It's really difficult to bully people if you're not as large and not as good as the people across, and they're just better. On the other side, you're down Riley Mills. After having been down Howard Cross, you got him back for like one game, and they look good, right? Going into their game against Georgia. But Riley Mills' absence was noticeable as Penn State was able to run the football mostly anytime they wanted, doing anything that they wanted in the middle. Now, they run a lot of wide zone at Penn State, and that's a staple. Wide zone being, okay, so what we're going to do is mostly we're going to try to get a clean picture of the box. We're going to try to see where our will linebacker is. We're going to run toward that will linebacker, and we're going to have probably our Y, or think of it like your fullback, tight end. That person's going to chip if you get that end edge coming inside, or you're going to just try to get upfield and get to the will. And then the running back is going to try to hit that hole. If he can't, they're going to try to pin that guy in. And then your wide receiver, he's going to take the most dangerous defender. He's going to kick that guy out, or he's going to push that guy in. You're going to try to get north and south as quickly as you can. It's a one-cut-go kind of play. And on the other side, you might have a wheel route installed there. You might have a bubble screen. Either way, you're going to have an alert for your quarterback who's watching the strong side, Sam linebacker, or safety, depending on what you see. Somebody that right there is number 2, right? So 1 on the outside, 2 on the inside. You watch number 2. Number 2 comes down. We're handing the football off. No, we're not doing that. We're going to pull it. We're going to get it out to our wide receiver. We're going to take the money that's right there. We're not going to pass up good money. I'm putting all this out there to talk a little bit of ball, because played a little bit of quarterback, not at the college level, but we love this stuff. But also to make you understand that Penn State was running staples, right? The wide zone is a staple of what they were doing this year, and they were really, really good at it. Nick Singleton, Katron Allen cut it back inside, and they made it really difficult for themselves to be tackled. Jack Kaiser, being a guy that's going to play, I believe, his 70th college football game in the national championship game, is going to have to be running around like chicken with his head cut off. He's going to have to be able to seek and destroy. I don't know how much you're going to be able to leave Xavier Watts back there. You're just going to have to, because that wide receiver group is so good. But you don't have the crush in the middle that you once did. Howard Cross can't do that alone. And if you got Quinshon Judkins and you got Travion Henderson, and you watch the Penn State tape, you know what you're going to do in your run attacks, and nobody's better at designing those sorts of things than Chip Kelly, who had, goodness me, dude. Like, I go back and forth about 2007 and whether or not Tim Tebow wins that thing if Dennis Dixon just stays healthy, because that's how good Chip Kelly was at devising ways for Dennis Dixon to get loose, right? That Oregon squad is my favorite. I know everybody likes the Marcus Mariota one, but that one was on something different, and that dude was something different. I always want to see Dennis Dixon just be great, man. Just go be great. But you've got that kind of expertise with Will Howard. Now, one of the things I had said earlier is that I think that Riley Leonard is not as good a passer as Will Howard, but that Riley Leonard is a better runner. That's mostly on what we've seen Notre Dame do. Notre Dame has had fourth and gotta have it, or they've designed plays for Riley Leonard just take off and run. I'm willing to amend that, right? I'm willing to say Willie Howard is just as good, because, frankly, we wanted to see Will Howard run more. And when he did get to do that against Texas, he looked really good doing it. But that was one of the things he did well at Kansas State. As a matter of fact, I think that dude is just farm Cam Newton. Like, if he puts on another 14 pounds, we're talking about 6'5", 250. That's what Cam Newton was when he was running around seeking whom he may destroy. And that was how Colin Klein used Will Howard at Kansas State. I'd like to see a little bit more of that. So I think these blows to the offensive line for Notre Dame are a huge deal, but it's much of a big deal. It's the blow of already not knowing you're going to have Riley Mills. Marcus Freeman, Al Golden, and Mike Denbrock going to have to come up with something mean, something nasty to get this Ohio State squad, but I just don't see it coming, man. I think Ohio State's the better football team. The better football team usually wins the national championship game.